What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Spoiler Plays. It is that time of the year again. You know it if you follow any sort of video game outlets out there. It is Game of the Year time. Last year I did one of these videos for the first time ever and I had a lot of fun doing it. I was able to play a bunch of games in December to get caught up on the year and really flesh out a good top 10 with some honorable mentions. And this year I actually played a couple more games than I did last year. Last year I played 18 total games. This year I played 20 games dead even that came out in 2022. So I figured, you know what? We're going to include them all. A two-part top 20 games of 2022. Obviously, you can see by the title of this video, I'm splitting them up, obviously, 20 to 11. So that's what we're going to be watching today. So these are the back half of my games. So this is going to include a couple games I actively didn't like, a couple games I thought were pretty good, but had some pretty big reasons why they were holding me back. And then towards the end of the video, we're actually getting into okay, these guys could have made the top 10 potentially. So as always, leave down in the comments. Let me know, am I crazy for my list? Did I rate something too low? Too high, which I'm sure is going to happen on this video, especially spoiler alert. And what were your favorite games of the year? And be on the lookout, coming soon, part 2, our actual top 10 games of the year. So until then, let's get started. My least favorite game of 2022 was Somerville, and I wish this wasn't the case. Somerville is a sci-fi puzzler where you are trying to find your family while dodging the remnants of an alien invasion, which sounds so cool. But even the epic opening moments of this game couldn't help how frustrating I found the puzzles, and how much the game just didn't control the way I wanted it to. Some of these puzzles need very specific placement of your character, and for whatever reason I just couldn't get a feel for it. I'd bounce off this game pretty quickly. To be fair, I only played about 45 minutes of Card Sharks on my Switch, through the free demo at least, and I ultimately think I just found it more boring than I expected. It's very cool that the game shows you how some actual sleight of hand tricks are performed, but there's just not enough to keep me entertained long enough to even finish the full demo. Don't click off this video. I know. How could Elden Ring, the slam dunk game of the year to so many, including the Game Awards, be so low on my list? Because I hate it, that's why. Nothing I could say would be anything you wouldn't be able to guess already. It's too hard, there's no direction, I honestly don't even think it looks that great compared to other games that came out this year, or this decade honestly, and there's no way I'm giving it the time I would apparently have to slam my head against the wall to convince myself it's actually fun. The accolades I respect so it can be the highest rated game of the 3 I actively did enjoy playing this year. Shout out to my wife for getting me this game as a Christmas prank. Thanks, babe. Nobody Saves the World was actually the first new game of 2022 that I played this year, and unfortunately it got cut short for me because of another January release that overshadowed it. Very fun and charming top-down action RPG with tons of characters that are all fun to use, and you can even swap between them on the fly to best handle the different dungeons. I honestly wanted to play more of this but just never got back to it. Plus, a game I have to play on my PC through Game Pass is always a tougher sell once I've stopped playing it once, but I can tell this is a great game that can give you hours of fun. I didn't hate Switch Sports by any means, but when we all had Wii Sports back in the day and it was an all-time great game, especially on the Wii, and then over a decade later we had to pay $50 for this much worse game, it just feels weird. The games themselves work very well and are fun, but the novelty runs out quickly if you don't have a dedicated group to play with. It's also a wild choice to me that out of only 6 games at launch, 3 of them are basically the same game. Since I bought the game shortly after it came out, they have added golf to the game at least, so there is a 7th game that I would like to go back and try out, but I think unless you have a dedicated party game, group of friends, I just can't really recommend this game. I almost bought this game 5 times and luckily it was released as a plus game, so I finally tried it. Award goes to Hot Wheels Unleashed this year. If I would have paid the $50 this game launched at, I would have had some regrets and thought differently. But especially as a game included with PS Plus, or even if it was like $20 or so, I think it's super worth it. The cards look amazing, the tracks are very cool, and the I'm a tiny toy car vibe is done perfectly in this game. They even have a blind box system that isn't horrible to help you unlock more cars to use. The story mode has tons of races and time trials, and for the creative types, there's a track editor where you can share and download other tracks that people made, which is super cool if there's a community out there making content. Overall, I ended up playing this game once for 3 or 4 hours straight, so I got a really good feel for the game, and it's just a great podcast game. If you liked Hot Wheels as a kid like I did, or better yet, if you have kids now who are maybe getting into Hot Wheels, I think this game's worth picking up. I think the best way to enjoy a Madden game is to do what I do. Only buy it every 5 years or so and have a brother to play against in person. The "it's the same game every year" argument doesn't affect me as much when I haven't owned a Madden since 2017. Now, it was still ultimately not what I was hoping it would be. I played through a season of franchise and dabbled in Ultimate Team, but fell off by October. Part of that, to be fair, is just I wasn't as into the NFL this year as I thought I was going to be. Thanks a lot, Denver. But in general, I kind of got what I wanted out of this game pretty quickly, but I'm always willing to let Rick catch his hands anytime he wants to. So let's go. Last year, Wildermyth won my Game I Love But Didn't Play As Much As I Wanted To award, and this year it definitely goes to Vampire Survivors. I actually didn't try it out until December and loved what I played. It's so addicting. All of the power-ups feel like they could work if put into the right build, and the music absolutely slaps. It's out on iOS now, so maybe I'll download it on my phone, but even from the little I've played, I see why so many in the industry have raved over this game. It's just plain good fun in a video game as a video game. Oh, also, it's like literally $5. They just made like a $2 DLC. It's free included in Game Pass, and it's completely free on iOS, so there's basically no excuse to not at least give Vampire Survivors a try. There is easily a world where Mario Strikers was a top 5 game for me this year, and they just didn't put enough into this game to make it so. Which is a shame because the gameplay, as tough as it can be, is so fun and snappy. It feels really good to play this game when you get into a groove, you found characters you like, you're used to the timings on each character and how best to use them, but there's just nothing really to do beyond a few tournaments against the CPU, play in disappointed online club mode, and play with friends in person. But even more so than Switch Sports, I think if you have a group of people who are willing to play this game with you, it is so much more fun when you're playing with people you know. So ultimately, I didn't regret my 15 hours I played with this game, and like I said, given the right circumstances, I actually highly recommend it. This game was so much more fun to me than Borderlands 3, and honestly, Borderlands, but it's a D&D game, is such a cool vibe. I love Ashley Birch, and she nails it as Tina as she did in the DLC back in the day. Gone are grenades, enter fun spells that are even more varied than Borderlands grenades, and the fantasy aesthetic leads to some really fun classes to play as, including getting to multi-class into a second one eventually. The wacky Borderlands style humor is still there and definitely has diminishing returns, but as a podcast / watch something while you play a game, it's perfect. The guns feel awesome, the colorful environment looks wonderful, and it's a great direction for the franchise instead of just another Borderlands game. Shout out to Josh from Attitude9 Gaming and all the streams we did over on his channel. It's absolutely a part of why I made it so high on my list this year. So we gotta do it again soon, man. All right, that's it. 20 through 11 in the books. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments, am I crazy? Do you agree with my takes? What were your favorite games of the year? All of that. And like I said, coming soon, 10 through 1, and you can find out what my favorite game of 2022 was. Last year, it was Ratchet & Clank, which it's kind of a surprise to me, but I think this year's going to be even more of a surprise to people. If you know me, you might be able to guess it, but I think in general, it'll be a surprise. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter @SwillyGames. Follow me on Twitch @SwillyStreams. Until next time, listen to my dad, and I'll see you in the next video.